Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subject is principle of auditing. And today lecture is on verification in auditing. Teaching agenda for today lecture is purpose of verification, verification technique, and the first verification technique physical existence, valuation of the assets, and ownership of the assets. Purpose of verification. The process of watching, as we discussed in earlier lecture, the process of watching enables an auditor to confirm the acquisition of an asset, the assumption of liability on that stated day with the source document. After such work has been done, the value of such item may have been decreased, their ownership may be changed, they may have ceased to exist. It is therefore necessary to substantiate the item at the date of the balance sheet by various means, such as inspection, obtaining certificate from responsible official, or by such documentary evidence is necessary in a given set of circumstances. Secondly, under subsection subsection 3 of section 255 of Company Ordinance 1984, the auditor is required to submit his report to the shareholder, specifically mention that the balance sheet exhibit or show true and fair view of the state of the company, or give adverse opinion to it to the best of his information and explanation given to him by the management of the company. Moreover, the auditor is required to discharge his duty after due verification. Third, in order to discharge the above legal duties imposed on the auditor of the company, it is necessary that such work should be carried out that enabling the auditor to submit his report that addressed to the shareholder to his entire satisfaction, and this process is called verification. Verification is based on 6 points. First one is satisfaction to the physical existing of the asset or liability. Number second, ensuring that the asset and liabilities are correctly valued. Third technique is ascertaining whether the question of ownership is valid and true in respect of asset and liability. Correct disclosure of asset and liability made under the law. Finding out that whether any of the asset of the company is suffering from charge or not, and any disclosure regarding this is given by the company or not. And the sixth one is proper authorization for any acquisition, disposal, or any other form of movement in respect of asset and liabilities is obtained or not is mentioned in the company article and memorandum of association. We will discuss first 3 in this lecture, these 3 techniques in the first lecture, and these will be left for other in the coming lecture. Physical existing of asset or liability. In order to satisfy himself in respect of physical existence of an item appearing in the balance sheet of the company, the auditor generally will have to use two techniques. First, stress is given on physical verification of the item by actual count, weighing, measurement. The second method is where the first step is to be followed in ascertaining a physical existence of an asset is not practical or not feasible or not possible to the auditor. Reference must be made to such documentary evidence and certified inventory are duly signed by the responsible official of the company so as to enable the auditor to acquire a satisfaction as to the physical existence of the item stated on the balance sheet. This is basically we can check a bank balance to be verified with reference to a certificate obtained directly from the client bank. These are the things which cannot be physically checked. For example, we can't physically check investment, we can't physically check intangible asset. So we will refer to the document that support these item of the balance sheet. Third is further, the bank balances are verified through by the certificate duly signed by the responsible person of the banker. Investment held must be physically examined if they are kept with the client banker. A certificate should directly be obtained confirming that they were held by them, indicating the purpose of their being held, whether held for the safe custody or to cover against any credit facilities. Certificate for physical inventory count. The certificate is not necessary. It is the responsibility of the auditor that he should physically take inventory. Taking is the responsibility of the auditor. He should physically count the auditor and reconcile it with the record or stated in the document. And fixed asset must be obtained. Certificate or invoice about the fixed assets, contract for the fixed assets, payment for the fixed asset, receipt issued against the fixed asset, certificate of ownership should also be obtained from the management of the company. Valuation. It is the duty, since Kingston Cotton Mills case was held, that auditor is not valuer, but it is considered now a bad law. It is the duty of the auditor to check the valuation of the asset with reference to any evidence that it is correctly valued or not. Where technical knowledge is required, the auditor is free to hire any external person or experts who have a skill to obtain any advice. Auditor should apply all possible tests to obtain satisfaction that the asset have been valued is directed by IAS IFRS or in accordance with the 4th and 5th schedule of the Company Ordinance 1984. Different bases being used for valuation depending on the nature of business as well as nature of asset as well. Fixed asset valuation required for earning income, not for sale. So its value should be based on going concern basis. It should be its value should be recorded at historical cost and maintained at historical cost. We should check its cost and then depreciation each year, accumulated depreciations, and finally what is the book value that have been rest with us. Market value not be considered in case of fixed asset because it doesn't affect its earning power. It is not considered to be replacement of the assets, not realizable value except placed in the market for sale. So these are the three reasons that we are not valuing the fixed asset on market base. If sale at any point of time not treated as business income. For fixed asset, sale is not treated as business income. It is treated as other income. Current asset which are required for the purpose of sale are used to generate sale in that current period of time. It is fully consumed in the current period of accounting, such as cash, stock, account receivable, bank balances, cash on hand. These are current assets. So important point should be note about valuation. Cost or market price, whichever is lower. If market price is lower, then the inventory should be value at market. If the cost is lower, then inventory should be valued at cost. Temporary fall or fluctuation in prices are ignored. It is a practice. Same principle adopted in subsequent year. Consistency of accounting policies is very much necessary. Depreciation must be provided if it is necessary. Depreciation is for fixed asset. Basically, some current asset decrease with the time. So there should be proper adjustment or provisions, such as NPOL, PMG or petrol evaporate very frequently. So we should have to have some provisions for that evaporation or loss in values. Similarly, coals converted into ashes, we have to provide some provisions for that losses. Wasting assets, fixed nature asset consumed or exhausted in the process of income. That is mine. Valuation for the mine may be not in the scope of the auditor. He should hire external consultant to value the to ascertain the value of mining. Redirection in the book value on estimation basis. So fixed value are these natural assets which are depleting over the time. Their values are reduces on the estimation basis that how long that mine would be would work. Third is ownership. Verification of the ownership of an asset and liability is fundamental aspects to which the auditor should devote his attention. If a certain value is associated in respect of an asset which is shown on the balance sheet, the auditor must satisfy himself that the ownership in respect of this asset is vested in his client. Secondly, the technique enabling the auditor to acquire a satisfaction on this point will differ depending on the nature of the asset and liability. For example, ownership of the investment is to be verified either by physically seeing the name of the client on the share certificate or physically examining by auditor or by seeing confirmatory certificate directly obtained from the banker mentioning that security held by the banker on behalf of the client uh, were held in the name of the were held in the name of the client. So this is one of the example for the ownerships of the investment. Similarly, ownership of fixed asset or any machine can be physically verified that it is the asset of the company. That's physical verification also confirm the ownerships, and there should be also certificate of ownership with the companies. Thank you. This is all about today's lecture.